when people look at Torah and say, why is God giving me all these rules? We don't think of God as a bully in the sky who wants to control us and wants to tell us what to do. Such a God should go for therapy. Why practice Judaism? What's in it for me? So that question can be answered on mystical levels, but I want to deal with it on a very practical level. If someone's asking that question, they want to know what's in it for me in the here and now. Don't tell me my soul is a piece of God and I'm cleaving to the eternal and maybe that's my essence, but on a practical level in the here and now. So think of the Torah as a manufacturer's manual. And people go out and buy a machine. You buy a camera, you buy an iPhone, you buy a computer, and it comes with a manual and it has instructions. And the instruction says, don't submerge it in water and don't allow it to be exposed to great levels of heat, etc., etc. And a person might say, like, why are you telling me what to do? This is mine. I bought it. I paid for it. I have the receipt. And you're giving me all these instructions? Can you leave me alone? Thank you very much. I own it. I'll do what I wish. And of course, the answer is this is not instructions to tie you down, but this is the instructions by the manufacturer telling you how this thing works optimally. And similarly, the Torah is God's manufacturer's manual for life, for all people, and specifically for the Jewish people, for the whole world, for the 7 Noahide laws, for the Jewish people, all the mitzvahs in the Torah. And it's God's way of saying, look, I created this world, I created you, I know how you work, I know what makes you tick. Trust me, this will make life most meaningful, most special, most joyous, etc. It's a manual for life. By whom? By the manufacturer of life and by the manufacturer of us, telling us how we tick. And therefore, when people look at Torah and say, why is God giving me all these rules? We don't think of God as a bully in the sky who wants to control us and wants to tell us what to do. Such a God should go for therapy. We think of God as a loving God. And as I mentioned earlier, on the spiritual, mystical level, God commands us to do these things because we're an extension of God, and God's will is really our deeper will. And therefore, by extension, on a practical level, this is what makes us tick. This is what the mitzvahs work. They make life special, meaningful, and gives us the greatest feeling of connection. What we all want in life really is one thing. We want joy, we want happiness, which comes from one thing, knowing that we matter. We're not just an accident. We're not just a biological mistake that showed up, on the universe of time. We're really meant to be. God knows my name. There's only one of me, there's only one of you. And the mitzvahs bring that home to us, giving us a sense of responsibility to God, to our people, to the world, to the cosmos, to ourselves. And therefore, yes, each of us really matter, and it gives us that connection. So the restriction is really exhilarating and freeing. And there's a great analogy to that. The kid is going with his Zaidi to the kite festival. And Zaidi gets him a kite, and he's running with this kite, and his kite is flying higher and higher and higher, and he's higher than all the other kites. And he's loving it. And then he says, Zaidi, can you just do me a favor? I want to go even higher. Can you snip the rope on my kite? And Zaidi says, are you sure about this? Kites are supposed to have that little string that pulls it. He says, Zaidi, come on, don't you see? We're way up there. If we can snip it, we're totally free. We're going to go beyond. We're going to transcend into the clouds. And Zaidi says, okay. And he snips the rope, and within seconds, the kite starts to spin and eventually falls. And apparently, somehow that rope, rather than tying down the kite, gives it the leverage, the anchoring that it needs to keep it flying high. And similarly, that's a healthy way of viewing Torah. And I'm going to say this, that many people who teach Torah don't understand. They don't have the benefit of Hasidus and the soul of Judaism, and see it just as a bunch of rules so that God don't get angry and send you to hell for the rest of eternity. But that's not Judaism at all. Judaism is God gives us this as our string to the kite. It's restrictions that are there to help us to soar higher and higher.
If you like that video, hit the subscribe button and notification bell below for hours of the best Jewish content online.